What's up, guys? It's Gathalion, and we're here today to take a look at Athena's melee tree. Now I'm going to go skill by skill and give you my thoughts on it as a melee player. The first one we've got is, you've got red on you. When you kill an enemy with a melee attack or it dies from bleeding, they explode. Nearby enemies will take damage from the blast and also be kind of grossed out. The grossed out, I don't know if enemies are actually going to be affected by the explosion outside of damage, or if it will actually act as some sort of crowd control. I feel like that would be pretty cool if enemies got grossed out and there was some sort of stun. Now it looks like this might actually be based on your melee damage. It doesn't show any sort of exponential growth to damage when the enemies explode, so it's sort of like Bloodsplosion, and it's sort of not like Bloodsplosion. Next is Gun Kata, or Gun Kata. This increases your gun damage, and additionally, your melee damage is increased for a short duration after shooting an enemy. This is a lot like Be Like Water, which is a skill for Zer0, but it didn't give you a flat gun damage increase. It gave you gun damage after meleeing and melee after gun damage. And this looks pretty cool because it gives you a flat gun damage increase, and it sort of gives you a nice little perk to using your gun and not just melee only. After seeing this tree, I'm 100% going Athena because I absolutely love melee, and she's got a lot of cool abilities. Unfortunately, she's not going to have the double swords like I wanted, but that's okay because this tree is actually pretty awesome. The next skill is called Mercurial. It's a kill skill, and upon killing an enemy, your movement speed and damage resistance increases. Now this is a little bit different from Zer0's follow-through, which gave you melee damage and movement speed. It gives you damage resistance, which makes Athena a bit more of a samurai than a ninja, in my opinion. She's still gonna move through the battlefield swiftly, but at the same time, she's going to be getting some damage resistance instead of a damage perk. They're balancing out the skills because they sort of saw what the melee formula could do for Zer0 at level 50, and frankly, at times, it could be pretty broken, and it's going to be interesting to see where they take the levels at. The next skill is called Rend, which is a common skill in MMOs, and World of Warcraft players will be familiar. Rend basically makes enemies bleed. Bleeding, I would say, I'd compare it to like a DOT, or damage over time, in the same way that when you hit an enemy with most fire weapons, they can get a DOT on them, and they will tick damage numbers over time for a certain period. Bleed seems like it's going to be a melee damage over time. And the damage is increased against higher health targets, which is pretty cool. That's going to be better against badasses, and it's also going to be against raid bosses, which is great. So this bleed damage will actually be relevant against big enemies with large health pools. That's awesome. The next skill we're looking at is Omega Senshu. You deal increased damage to any enemy who has less than 50% of their maximum health. Now it says plus damage. I don't know if that's going to affect your melee damage or gun damage, because usually it'll say gun damage or melee damage. So maybe this is all damage. Maybe it might even increase grenades, or maybe it'll just be gun damage. Who knows? I'm hoping it also increases your melee damage, because I like to get a lot of different melee stacking abilities going on, and I feel like this could be pretty cool. This is pretty much as close as we're going to get to Killing Blow, and it's kind of a reverse Reaper skill for Miss Athena, and this looks to be pretty good, and it probably won't end up being broken like Killing Blow can be, because once you got a boss down to 30%, it was over. The next one is my absolute favorite. It's Blood Rush. This is basically, this is Blood Rush. This is Blood Rush. Basically, you do a lunge at a target in the same way that Execute does for Zer0. Now, if you apply a bleed to a target that isn't bleeding, the melee override will actually reset. So this takes place of your normal melee strikes unless it's on its cooldown. Also, if you kill an enemy with a melee attack, this will reset. So Blood Rush is inherently Many Must Fall and Execute in the same skill, and that is fucking awesome. That is so awesome. The next one is called Epicenter. This is a slam alternative skill, meaning your butt stomp. When you slam, you now create a singularity, pulling all enemies closer and dealing damage. So basically, this works really well with melee because you can butt stomp and pull enemies that might not be near you, so they can't quite run away. And that's always an issue with melee characters, especially in this game, Borderlands, where a lot of enemies will knock you back when you're in melee range, and then you can't melee regularly. So say you get knocked back and you can butt stomp and it pulls them to you in the same way that a singularity grenade would. I really like this. This is a good mid tier, and I'm absolutely loving this tree so far. This shit is great. The next one is called Bloodlust. You gain health regeneration whenever you make an enemy bleed. This is really nice because Athena is looking to be a little bit tankier than Zer0. That's why I compare her to a samurai, and I hope she has a samurai class mod. Health regeneration whenever you make an enemy bleed for the duration of the bleed effect. This effect stacks if you have multiple bleeding enemies. So that means if you go around meleeing a bunch of guys and they're all bleeding, then you'll regen. What does this look like? It goes up to about 10% of your maximum health per second per enemy bleeding. So if you have multiple enemies bleeding at once, then you're pretty much going to be looking at a situation where you're regaining your maximum health over and over and over again. And this is going to be absolutely wonderful for Athena if she's going to be tanking boss fights. And I hope that boss fights actually end up sort of requiring people to play roles. And Athena could definitely play that tank role with these skills. I'm really excited about it. This is really cool. Let me know how you guys are feeling about melee as well. Are you going to be using Athena? Are you going to be using her melee tree? I'm really excited about it. Leave me a comment in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about it. And yeah, guys, as a Zer0 fan, as a ninja melee guy, I can 100% say that Athena is going to be my first and primary character going into Borderlands, the pre-sequel. I don't even need to see the other two characters. After seeing this melee tree, I'm so excited, and I haven't even seen the whole thing. So yeah, guys, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you back at Borderlands, the pre-sequel.